Hi, my name's Jennifer, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would show you my book haul. So over the last few weeks I've acquired several books. I don't tend to buy books very often because I use the library all the time, so when I do buy books I buy second hand and usually books that I know I can't get in the library. So a couple of weeks ago I went to Chester for the weekend for my sister's hen do and managed to find some time to go book shopping, so I got several books there. A couple of weeks ago I was in Liverpool for the first time in over a year. I was in Liverpool city centre and I got a few books then. And then the other day I had a day off work and there's a charity shop just down the road here, which is really good for books, and I picked up 8 books in that one shop alone. So I'm very pleased with this haul, so let's get into it. I have sort of ordered them in some sort of order as we go through, we'll see. So I picked up 4 short story collections. I do like to have a little stack of short story collections so I can just sort of dip in and out of them. The first one is the Penguin Book of English Short Stories. This was published in the 60s and it contains short stories from a lot of like classic authors, a lot of whom I don't think I've read from before. So there's Charles Dickens, Thomas Hardy, Rudyard Kipling, H.G. Wells, James Joyce, Virginia Woolf, Aldous Huxley, Graham Greene. So this I think might be quite interesting because if I like any of the stories in particular, it might entice me to read more by that author. And then on the same theme, I picked up the Penguin Book of Modern British Short Stories. So this again looks really good. Some of these authors I have read from in the past, but a lot of them I haven't. So we've got William Golding, Kingsley Amis, Doris Lessing, John Fowles, Ian McEwan, Angela Carter, Kazuo Ishiguro, Julian Barnes. So that looks really good as well. So I'm very pleased with those 2. Then I picked up 2 short story collections by P.D. James. So this first one is called The Mistletoe Murder and Other Stories. I have a feeling I may have read this before, but I have a terrible memory, so I won't remember who done it. There's only like a few stories in this, but I thought this one might be nice to dip in and out of over Christmas time. And then this one is called Sleep No More, and again sort of crime short stories, good to have on the go. Pleased with them. Next, so while we're talking about crime, I picked up 4 crime fiction books from a little bookshop in Liverpool, second-hand bookshop in the Blue Coat Chamber, and these are all by John Dickson Carr. So John Dickson Carr was a writer of like golden age crime fiction, and he is sort of known as the master of the impossible puzzle or locked room mystery, if you like. So I picked up Below Suspicion, Till Death Do Us Part, The Man Who Could Not Shudder, and The Sleeping Sphinx. So looking forward to getting to them. Then I picked up 2 books which I have actually read before, and I know I can get these in the library, but because I like them so much and they were in like £1 each, I picked them up. So let's start with this one, Blackwater Lilies by Michel Bussi. So this I read several years ago and absolutely loved it, and I've not really heard that many people talk about it really. It's set in France, in wherever Monet was from, can't remember. And we follow three women who share a secret, and it's brilliant. So I'm definitely going to be reading that, probably get to that at some point next year. And then I also picked up Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. So I really like Sarah Waters. I've read all of her novels once each. I think my favourite's Affinity, and Fingersmith I would say is my second favourite. If you haven't read any Sarah Waters, I'd probably suggest Fingersmith as a good place to start. So Fingersmith is set in Victorian London, and we follow a young girl who's orphaned. She grows up amongst petty thieves, so it's almost a bit of a Oliver Twist situation, and then we go from there. This is really enjoyable, twisty, so I'm looking forward to heading to this one again. And if you have read this, I would highly recommend you watch the film The Handmaiden. which was released a few years ago. We watched it earlier this year on Netflix, and it's a Korean adaptation of Fingersmith. So they've transposed the setting of Victorian London to Korea, and it's such a good film. Okay, where next? Let's go to these. Okay, I picked up The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock by Imogen, Hermes, Gowar. I don't know that much about it, but I know it's a book that I want to read. It's historical fiction, and it involves a mermaid. My library does have this, but only in hard cover, and it's quite a big book. So I feel like a paperback is going to make it more manageable. And also I picked up The Animals at Lockwood Manor by Jane Healey. I feel like the same person probably bought these from Waterstones because of the little sticker, and then donated them to the charity shop. So The Animals at Lockwood Manor, I have heard someone speak about it. I can't remember who, I can't remember anything what it was about, but I remember thinking it sounded interesting. This is another historical fiction novel. Okay. Right, next. Let's go for this one. So, Ocean Vuong, On Earth We're Briefly, gorgeous. This is on my list of books that I want to read, and I know that I can get this in the library. However, I picked this up, it was only like £1. It's in quite, £1.50. It's in quite good condition, and it's a book that I've heard so many people talk about, so many people love this book, and the way they speak about it makes me think that I might really like this as well. I think Ocean Vuong is a poet, and from what I understand, I think the writing's quite poetic and lyrical, so I thought it would be nice to have a copy. Then we have classic Dracula by Bram Stoker. Again, I know I can get this in the library, but this is a book that I want to head to at some point next year, and I feel like having a nice, and this is in like really good condition, having a nice copy is going to entice me to read it even more. I'm running out of space. Okay, we have The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver. Again, I don't know that much about this. I've heard someone talk about it because I know I've looked it up in the past. My library does not have a copy of this book, although they do have other novels by this author, but they don't have this one. I think this is historical fiction as well. I don't know much about it, but interested to get to that at some point. Okay, then we have Barbara Vine, A Fatal Inversion. I've only recently discovered Barbara Vine's novels actually, so it's Ruth Rendell, and the novels she published under Barbara Vine are more sort of psychological thrillers as opposed to crime or police procedurals. So my library does have a load of these, but when I see them in a charity shop, I'll look it up and see if the library has this one, and they don't have this particular one, hence I picked it up. Then we have some sci-fi. This is Inverted World by Christopher Priest. Never heard of this before, and I've never heard of this author before either. I do like a little bit of sci-fi every so often. This sounds interesting. On the front cover it says one of the trickiest and most astonishing twist endings in modern sci-fi. And from what I understand, let me find the introduction. So, apparently this book asks the question, what would existence be like on an infinite planet located within a finite universe? So it sounds like it might be a bit mind-bending, but interested to head to that at some point. And then final 3 books. These are all these are the most random books in this haul, I would say, and these are all from the charity shop down the road, so they have quite an eclectic selection. The first is The Cat of Yule Cottage by Lili Hayward, which I bought purely because it's Christmassy and there's a cat on the cover. That's why I got it. So I look forward to reading this in December. Then I picked up The Monk by Matthew Lewis. This is a little bit of a battered copy actually. Now, this was published in 1796. And as I understand it, this is one of the earliest works of Gothic fiction, which is why I'm intrigued. However, I feel like this book might be a bit hard going, even just looking at what it says on the blurb. So this involves seduction in a monastery, lustful monks, evil abbesses, bandits and beautiful heroines. And it was like, I think the author was like vilified when it was released because it was so shocking. So yeah, and I know I can't get this in the library because I have looked this up recently. So I don't know when I'm going to get to this, but I'm intrigued. And then finally, this is random, the Communist Manifesto by Carr, Marx and Friedrich Engels. Just saw this in the charity shop down the road, thought it might be interesting to read one day. The actual manifesto itself is only about 40 or 50 pages long. There's like over 200 pages of introduction and notes. So I have no idea when I'm going to get to this, but I thought it might be interesting to read at some point. So there we have it. That's my little book haul. It's quite a big book haul actually. So that's very exciting. I hope you're all well. Let me know if you've read any of these books and I'll speak to you all again soon. Bye.